how what students are expected to learn actually varies from state to state. Our national correspondent Jerika Duncan recently visited a school in Maryland to see how the district revamped its curriculum after reflecting on how they approach topics like slavery and civil rights. Jerika, loved your piece yesterday. What did you discover this time?
Really got a chance to speak to some of the teachers, visited a classroom. Students at Montgomery County Public Schools, one of the largest districts in the nation, mostly use primary sources like letters and speeches to learn about U.S. history instead of relying simply on textbooks alone. It's just one way they are taught to think critically about our nation's past.
We talked about this phrase, make a way out of no way.
For middle school teacher Salvatore Asenza,
let's start today.
History is more than just memorizing dates and famous faces.
We as America, we did this and we are guilty of it.
We listened in on a critical conversation in his classroom about America's history, including slavery.
For people who look at this part of our history and go, but it's over, everyone's equal now, do you guys feel that way or?
No, because yes, there was racism before, but there's still remaining bits of it. It was better than before, yes, but it's still bad.
Asenza is the Social Studies Department chair at Roberto W. Clemente Middle School in Maryland. It's part of the most diverse district in the state, Montgomery County Public Schools.
In some ways, you're teaching them to question
all the time.
All the time.
All the time.
There is no national standard for teaching social studies, so it's often left up to individual states and districts to decide how to teach it.
Do you think a lot of parents understand that there's such a vast difference from district to district?
I suspect most parents don't.
CBS News contributor Dr. Ibram X. Kendi is the author of the book, How to Be an Anti-Racist, and a professor at American University.
One of the most precious things that we have in this society are the minds of our children. Parents and non-parents should be ensuring that children, their minds are being shaped in the most accurate way possible.
So impressive.
Teferet Ani feels she's doing just that. She's the social studies curriculum specialist in Montgomery County. She recently revamped the 8th grade curriculum that teachers like Asenza are now using.
It was really important to us to make sure that we are telling an inclusive narrative of American history, and so to get away from sort of the dominant narrative that's focused on presidents, on generals, the political history.
Some examples, the new curriculum now includes a unit on stolen labor. Students also look at how and why the Constitution protected slavery and have lessons where they rewrite portions of their textbooks. Michael Williams teaches high school African American history in the district.
I haven't seen a textbook that is used in high schools that does not omit some very key, not just information, but themes. And so part of our job as historians and as teachers is to try and tell a more complete story.
What's a hindrance to having sweeping generalizations?
Asenza's 8th graders we spoke to say the new curriculum has opened their eyes.
Raise your hand if you think this class has taught you how to think more critically about the information you consume.
I think it has changed how we study history because we look at history through a white, pretty male American lens. I feel like learning through this lens basically tells the whole story of America about how slavery is the root and the foundation of America and its history.
We're learning how to be really, really analytical thinkers, really trying to discover for ourselves, like, the truth.
But not everyone has been on board with the curriculum changes.
There were teachers that it was hard for them, right? I think a lot of times history teachers, they love the national story, right? And the story that they were told and taught and studied is not necessarily the story that's part of this curriculum.
Why should parents, why should society as a whole care about how children are learning history?
If we teach them everyone's story, then they're going to become adults that believe in everyone's story. And if we don't teach the children correctly, it's going to be perilous for our society.
Ani is currently working on revamping the district's 9th grade curriculum, which includes the civil rights movement. She says it will go beyond well-known figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and include a focus on the ongoing struggle groups face in the fight for equality. This was obviously a big undertaking. Shout out to Shannon Lewis Brandon.